Summer's heating up, Indy. Is your AC ready? At LCS Heating and Cooling, we don't follow a corporate playbook. We follow the needs of our neighbors.
We are locally owned and fully invested and always here for your comfort needs when it matters most.
Right now, get a professional AC deep cleaning for just $89. Real value from a team you can trust. Contact us today to discover the difference with LCS Heating and Cooling. LCS Heating and Cooling, launching the way to lasting comfort solutions.
Outside the Forecast on WTHR Plus is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.
Well, Sean Ash here on Outside the Forecast, and this week's edition takes a look back at the race day tornado outbreak, May 30th, 2004. Can you imagine being at the Motor Speedway and seeing this sign on the Jumbotron? Please seek shelter immediately. There is a tornado warning. And of course, if you were there that day, you would have heard Tom Carnegie with that saying as well. Again, it's unfathomable. It's the worst case scenario for race day, but it's very close to what we had. We're going to take you back and you can relive some of those chaotic moments on that date back in 2004.
That's a power flash. Power flashes, tornado on the ground.
That's what they look like?
Yes.
And that is indeed what happened. We had quite a volatile setup here in not only central Indiana, but across the Midwest. And we've always feared about a tornado or a tornadic supercell moving through Marion County on race day. And the track itself was hit multiple times with heavy rain, one in the morning, but a supercell thunderstorm in the afternoon put an end to racing that day, brought a hail core through the Motor Speedway, and a tornado that tracked over the southern and southwestern part of Marion County. Let's take you through the setup. It's one of the days in my career where I went to work and with a pit in my stomach, knowing about the volatility that was to take place. At that particular time, I was working at a different television station in Indianapolis, but we knew the setup was there, and so did the Storm Prediction Center. A high risk, now mind you, at that time, there was only 3 risk levels from the Storm Prediction Center. There was slight, moderate, and high. And there was a very large area under a high risk for what was to be expected long track rotating supercell storms. And that's indeed what happened. There was multiple tornado watches that day. I went back and took a screen grab from, at the time, SkyTrack 13 radar, and you can see the multiple tornado watches, and these radar echoes tell us a little something about the day. Along the warm front, we had the supercells, but then we also later on would eventually have a squall line of storms. It was definitely a 1-2 punch over Indiana that day. This particular tornado watch was a PDS watch box, and that's particularly dangerous situation for the potential, again, of long track tornadoes. And I'm telling you, not the morning stuff. So we had a lot of heavy rain in the morning that impacted the race and the start of the race, but it was the cells later in the day. Anything on radar was spinning. There was so much spin in the atmosphere that the National Weather Service was issuing tornadoes quite frequently. And at times, we had simultaneous tornado warnings. In all, there was 23 tornadoes. We had 2 F3. Now, the enhanced Fujita scale wasn't in existence at that point in time, so it was the F scale. 2 F3s, 3 F2s, and you can see they covered a large part of the state. And then you see all of the tornado reports right through the metro area, where we had 5 confirmed tornadoes, the first of which started in northwest Morgan County. And again, you can see the path, a continuous path of the F2 tornado, why it was so important. Less than 10 miles from the Motor Speedway, but also less than 7 miles from the field house, which was also jammed with fans for a Pistons-Pacers playoff game that particular day. And this was the path, so a very close call, but still high impacts over the central portion of Marion County, but it was more from the hail core, and this path took it along the southeast and east side of Indianapolis with an F2 tornado. This is the one that began a very skinny tornado there. This is near Monrovia. And folks at the top of the pagoda could actually see this tornado as it traveled across Marion County. This is what it looked like on Channel 13 that day. They were able to follow the tornado on the south side of Marion County with the camera network there, and you can see that eerie scene of the condensation funnel of the F2 tornado from I-65 south and 465 there on the south side. And this thing morphed, just very ominous. Again, over the most highly populated portion of the state. This is what live Doppler 13 radar looked like on that particular day. This is, by this point, the core had moved away from the speedway, but at one point they were in the heavy rain shaft and very close to the heavy hail core. The tornado itself was right here in this hook. We don't get a lot of supercells that cross through Marion County like this. So nearly unprecedented. And you can see that big hook here. There's Southeastern Avenue, and circling the potential tornado there within that hook as it crossed over 465 on the east side. So quite a day. Tornado warning that was issued for Marion County. Now at that time we were not on daylight time. We didn't recognize it here at that particular time, so it was 6:12 Eastern Standard. The language of the tornado warning, tornado 20 miles southwest of Claremont. It will be near Speedway at 7:05, Homecroft 7:10, Beech Grove at 7:15. Of course, the tornado, at least in terms of the path of that, the supercell, took it just to the south of Speedway. So as we recap and kind of show you the historic nature of this race day outbreak from May 30th, 2004. In central Indiana, 15 tornadoes. A record for rainfall on that date, nearly 4 inches, came in a couple of different waves. And again, the tornado, one of which tracked less than 10 miles south of IMS, less than 7 miles south of the field house. And Buddy Rice won that rain-shortened Indy 500. They made the decision to call the race for good measure after 180 laps. It was, again, a very chaotic day that started with heavy rain and storms. We had some dry time in the middle part of the day, and then we had a warm front that was draped over us, and that set the stage for quite the spin come late in the day. It is hands down the wettest race day in Indianapolis for the Indy 500. Not even close. I mean, nearly 4 inches. The second closest wettest day was 1981, which was nearly 2 inches less than that. So this was a very, very wet day. Last year, 2024, about 1.5 inches here. And quite the contrast to what we can get sometime on race days. The 23 tornadoes from May 30th at the time was the second most for the state in one day. Since then, we've had November 17th outbreak. We also had the April 19th outbreak. We've had March 31st, 2023, and then recently, April 2nd of 2025 proved to be a prolific tornado day as well. But the 23 is still puts it in the top 4 most tornadoes in one day, and again, just happened to coincide with a race day. Now, as we think about some of the extremes that we have on race day, we talked about the tornadoes, but just to show you that we can also have the other side of the token there, 2025 proved to be the coolest race day we've had in nearly 30 years with a daytime high of 63 degrees. As I reflect back on that day, it's remarkable that there was one fatality from a lightning strike. Remarkable that we didn't have there were some injuries with that Marion County tornado, but there were no fatalities, which I think also poses, we were very lucky that particular day, and there was a great deal of lead time on the warning. But again, anytime we talk about race day, we always think back to May 30th, 2004. We appreciate you checking us out here on Outside the Forecast, here on WTHR+.
Outside the Forecast on WTHR Plus is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.